Newly acquired golden retriever by head coach Ron Rivera, who is training to be a therapy dog. You have not yet stolen him from me, but I do want to talk about the coach. It's his 8th season as the head guy down there. How has stuff like that, him adopting a dog, him putting him on Instagram, his personality, his demeanor, how does that impact the squad?
Of course, the dog makes them instantly more likable, but I'm talking about his personality, Kay. He's always so even-keeled, and I asked him about that, and he told me that he leans on some advice that his father had given him, which was stay even-keeled when things are crazy because they're going to look to you for direction. So I went in that locker room yesterday, and I talked to linebacker Luke Kuechly about his coach and just how even-keeled he is, and Luke said that he's so calm. It's like a calming presence for them. And then he quickly started to rattle off these examples, most recently that Philadelphia game where they were down 17-0 in the third quarter. And after the Eagles had scored, you know, Kuechly says to me that coach walks over there and says, we need to get some stops and the offense is going to score. And then Kuechly says his reaction was, you know what? All right. And then that's what ensued. And then he also talked about that 2015 season when they went to the Super Bowl, how everyone was kind of hyping them up. But he said that Coach Rivera stayed like this the entire year and how key that was for them. And then I also talked to corner Captain Munnerlyn. Just asked him how Coach is able to stay so calm. And Munnerlyn said to me, I say the same thing. And then he said that Rivera's reaction, it never changes depending on whatever's going on. He said he is special. There's something special about him. And then he went into that one time. He said that he could remember where Coach did get rattled. And he said that's because he was yelling at me. And he goes, you know what? I can Google the picture for you. I said, what? He's like, I'm going to find this. You just wait. So I waited, of course, because I said, I'm here for this. And as he's pulling out the photo, guess who comes strutting through the locker room? It's Rivera headed in our direction. We were busted, but we showed him the photo. Had a good laugh. Immediately, he was like 2012 Chicago Bears game, a game that they lost to a final seconds field goal. But just know that's one of the few times it's happened, and it just so happened to be caught on camera.
We love the vibe in Carolina and you bringing us all of that info. Tiffany Blackman, you'll be with us all week leading into that Panthers-Steelers matchup on Thursday night. Now, the Steelers back here as we turn things over to the breakfast table. They've won 4 straight. Panthers also red hot. They've won 3 straight. Which team is playing better ball right now?
I'm going to ride Carolina. Because height of powers Cam is terrifying. I think he's the best player in football. He says he's Superman. He's really Doomsday. And Peter knows who that is, but it's a very powerful person. We're having an MVP debate on the show today. I think if we have one a week from now or 2 weeks from now, we'll be having Cam as one of the candidates in that, 100%. I think he's going to play his way into that race.
And the defense is awesome, too. Like, you know, we're talking about the offense and Cam and Curtis Samuel. They're doing such fun stuff on offense with Norv, but Eric Washington's defense is punishing teams. They were up 35-7 in the first half. They scored all those points. But the defense was doing the job, too. So I'm going to say the Panthers as well. Just both sides of the ball, dominant right now.
13 turnovers in 6 games.
Speaking of punishment, and I know bully isn't a politically correct term to use, but there was bully ball being played, Steelers versus the Ravens. Talk about defense. Those guys were hitting everything that was moving in front of them. So I'm going with the Steelers. I like their offense, and that defense starting to play just as good.
Who did Doomsday take out? Superman, right?
I mean, he killed
I remember
Superman.
that often. So more to come. Titans fans watching right now. And tweet us at #GMFB. We got to get to this story, though. The Steelers and their running back, Le'Veon Bell, he's been MIA. We know that. But maybe not for much longer. Bell tweeted, farewell Miami. The internet went bananas yesterday afternoon. There's, of course, a lot of theories on this. Is he on his way back to Pittsburgh to join his squad? A lot of ins and outs and what have you. So let's bring in our very own Aditi Kinkhabwala. She's been on top of all of this for too long, quite frankly. So the November 13th deadline to maintain his playing eligibility is approaching. What have you heard about the situation and the status of Le'Veon Bell?
Well, first, Kay, does farewell mean the same as farewell? Let's all note that farewell actually was not spelled correctly right there. We don't know what this really means because none of the Steelers have still heard from Le'Veon Bell. I talked to quite a few of his teammates yesterday. We're in the building already. No one has heard from him what his plans are. Now, we've talked about that November 13th date. As we know, the CBA says that he needs to show up by 4 p.m. on November 13th in order to be eligible to play this year. But his teammates have been pretty clear, Kay, that at this point, as right guard David DeCastro said on Sunday, we don't care. Why is that? The Steelers are on a 4-game win streak. Why else is that? James Conner is the most productive running back in the NFL right now besides Todd Gurley. He is doing everything that Le'Veon Bell could do and more than Le'Veon Bell could do. He already has 10 touchdowns. At this point last year, Le'Veon Bell only had 5. In fact, Bell hasn't even had 10 in a career. He's doing all of that while showing what these offensive linemen like to say is real team football. After he scores a touchdown, Kay, he goes and he shakes his linemen's hands. This is a team that in many ways has moved on from Le'Veon Bell. When Mike Tomlin was asked about him on Sunday, he said, "We're interested in volunteers, not hostages." So now if he does come, he's not even the starting running back anymore. At this point, if Le'Veon Bell shows up, maybe he plays a little bit of slot receiver. Maybe he's just an insurance policy. And remember, is it better for him to just let his tape speak for itself when he's looking for a new contract next year? Or should he show up and be just a shell of what he once was?
Great questions and great insight as always from Aditi Kinkhabwala, who is spending her morning on Lev Bell watch once again in Pittsburgh. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Back here, midterm elections are here. We got voters, people making their voices heard all across the nation today, and we're going to do it right here in studio, Good Morning Football style. When Lev Bell reports back to the team, he's obviously going to have to do a little campaigning on his own, winning back the vote of confidence from the entire locker room. So let's dish out whiteboard style on a Tuesday and I already wrote mine, what we think that his campaign slogan should be.
You want to go first, Kay?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll jump in.
This is a campaign slogan to his teammates. Like he walks in and he's like,
I got you.
Vote for me.
I got you. In 1980, Reagan asked, "Are you better than you were 4 years ago?"
Okay.
Le'Veon Bell,
Stick to sports, Nate!
Le'Veon Bell 4 years ago, 1,300 rushing yards, 83 catches, 854 yards in the air. He had over 2,200 yards, 11 TDs.
What do you got?
He's going to walk in and say, "I am better than I was 4 years ago." I think that's a big question, right? What has he been doing? How's his durability? At this age, you know, the years that a running back usually falls off, can he still be productive? Oh, not to mention James Conner's beasting out right now. He's going to walk in and say, no, I'm better than my best year, which was 4 years ago.
I love Reagan.
Reagan did play the Gipper, by the way. That's
He did.
sports.
Reagan he's quite an actor. Nate's going to do a Reaganomics 101.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get
Tear
to
down that wall.
Educate you up.
Here's mine. Here, how can I help? And literally, that's all Le'Veon Bell should say. He should walk in, say, "I'm here, I'm reporting to duty, and I'm here to help however you guys want."
It's catchy.
Whatever you guys need. If
Like
you
a
need me
PA.
if you just need me to block on passing downs, I'm in for just that. If you need me to return kicks, I'm here for that. You guys are 5-2-1. I am just another member of the 53. Like Aditi said, James Conner shakes the lineman's hand. He goes around. He's loved by the team. The fans. I got a Steelers fan yesterday. Call him Mevion Bell on Twitter yesterday. Mevion, M-E. I think that has to stop. I'm here. How can I help? 8 weeks left. Let's go.
I think the Steelers have got it going on. I think they're going to run into the Patriots in the playoffs. And imagine this if you can. Stretch your imagination. Tom Brady is a very powerful elected official that a lot of people want to see lose. Okay? Imagine that. It's not going to take one guy or one candidate. It's going to take a ticket. It's going to take two guys.
You got it.
So I go Le'Veon and I say, beat the GOAT, Bell Conner gets the vote.
Okay.
I like it.
The two of them are going to join forces to take out New England.
It's a good ticket.
To make the Steelers great. That's it. Two guys it's going to take. If they make them work together, a la mini Voltron, that's how you beat the Patriots.
I love it. I feel like I had a different take on all of this than you guys yesterday. I thought it was going to be a good thing, him coming back and how he'll fit in, and he has fresh legs. Lev and let live. Lev and let Lev.
With the devil horn.
Yes, I think with just a little of this. Yeah. I just feel like he'll walk in. Hopefully he shuts up. He doesn't tweet. He doesn't do anything because I think the distraction is not what we need. But come in there and ball out. Do what you do. Everything's fine. You'll have fresh legs. You'll warm up after a couple of weeks while James Conner's still crushing it. And you'll be in prime position to be the most versatile running back, maybe the best running back in the game, into the playoffs, and maybe to beat the GOAT and get the vote.
Okay.
So Lev and let Lev. It's all good.
He's a rapper. Ain't no shutting up in Lev Bell.
We're going to...
Big ups to the Tennessee Titans who get to 500 with a 28-14 win. But all that drama down in Texas coming from Coach Garrett and Dak Prescott after the loss.
Well, I thought we did some good things in this game, really in all three phases of our team, but certainly not good enough. And we had some early opportunities that we didn't cash in on, got some takeaways, and there were 3 opportunities down there. We scored the touchdown on the one, we missed the field goal, and then we threw the interception in the end zone. So really 10 points we kind of left out there, or possibly 6 to 10 points.
That was the difference. Simple as that. I mean, defense gets us a turnover there. We're up 7 points, and I go down there and try to force the ball and give it right back to them. That's a 14-point swing. They go back down on the other end and get a touchdown and tie it up. It's 14-0 if we convert on that. So, I mean, that's the difference right there, 14 points.
Cowboys cannot seem to protect Dak Prescott with the game on the line. He's been sacked 21 times in the second half this season, the most of any quarterback in the league. So Dallas had a bye week. They had a lot of time to get set for this game, and they didn't show up at home under the bright lights. We have to, unfortunately, dish out some blame. Who's to blame for this loss? And I feel like if I'm looking at it, and if I'm a quarterback in the NFL, I want to play for the Cowboys. I want a star running back. He has that. And Zeke Elliott, who, granted, he's been struggling late in the offensive line, hasn't been great. I want a #1 wide receiver, which he now has in Amari Cooper. I want an offensive line that maybe isn't playing as well as they played my rookie year, but that's still good. I just feel like it's getting a little bit harder to make understandable excuses for Dak Prescott. Do you know what I mean? Like, he pretty much had, they have the #1 ranked defense going into this game as well. So to me, there's a lot of blame to go around, but a play like this in the first quarter,
wide receiver, his new wide receiver, a chance to go up and get it. When you're a true #1, that's not a bad pass. I mean, he could have actually tucked it away and ran with it, but you look at Calvin Johnson, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, those guys are getting that same ball thrown to him. I'm not sure that Amari Cooper was able to gather his feet, stop, and go up and grab that ball like Dak Prescott assumed. But you're right, though, okay? I mean, at the very least, you're the decision maker. So if you feel like your wide receiver can't come down with it, you got to tuck that ball away and live to play another down.
I just like when the Cowboys are good and competitive, and I thought they would win at home. The Titans' offense was so anemic. They had the best defense. It did not happen that way.
Yeah, it's better for the league when the Cowboys are good. You know, I issued a statement to Scott Linehan early in the season. I said, you know, I want to see the creative side of this offense. Oftentimes in certain situations, they say cooler heads prevail. Well, in the NFL, creative minds prevail. And we're seeing that more often week in and week out. You look at the offenses that we love, the Saints, the Rams, the Chiefs. It seems like week in and week out, they're reinventing themselves. So for me, I'm looking at this team. It has to start with them. It starts with Garrett, and it starts with Scott Linehan.
Now, you played for Scott Linehan. Does he have that in his bag? Like,
he does.
Can you just make that happen in week 10? I don't see it happening.
He does, but I think what stops him from doing that is the turnover in players. When you have guys that know the system, that knows the coaches, that knows the game plan, and you can kind of mix things up week in and week out, it's easier for you to do that. But when you lose a Jason Witten, a Dez Bryant, and now you're kind of getting guys in and out, you just got Amari Cooper. I mean, how difficult of an offense can you implement when you have a guy who just put on the jersey a week ago?
I feel like a lot of teams deal with injuries. A lot of teams throw quarterbacks into the mix. And for Dak Prescott to be the starting quarterback for the 3rd season, for Ezekiel Elliott to be there for the 3rd season, for all those offensive line, for us to still see that brand of football from the Dallas Cowboys is inexcusable. So I'll point to coaching. I don't take great pleasure in doing this, but the Cowboys were just 1 for 4 in the red zone. The 3 possessions where they didn't score, they missed a field goal, chippy. They had an interception that you saw. Kay just showed that Dak Prescott was completely inexcusable. Any quarterback knows not to throw the ball into double coverage in the red zone like that. And 3, they had a turnover on downs in the last drive of the game where it was just, they threw a crazy halfback pass. They did all sorts of strange stuff. They also allowed the Titans to convert 80% of their 3rd down. So 11 of 14 times the Titans had 3rd down and converted 1st downs. That is a poorly coached team. That's a poorly disciplined team. And that is a team that on Monday Night Football in front of a national audience with a home crowd with all of the bells and whistles and Jason Witten crying on the air laid an egg. And that is not a playoff team. And that means that we have to start anew and figure out what's wrong.
I agree. And look, we're in the golden age of offense and creativity. And there's Goff and Mahomes. And yesterday, we saw Norv Turner, who was the Cowboys offensive coordinator 30 years ago, calling a double reverse to his best weapon and worked perfectly. My wife and I do game night. We're at the stage of our lives. We do game night and Chardonnay and categories. We could do a game on Monday night. We bring our friends over and close your eyes. Just guess what play the Cowboys run. Is it Zeke left or Zeke right and then a 5-yard pass on 3rd and 9? Yes, it is. It is so tediously predictable. And Amari Cooper is a fine player. I'm sure he'll be really good. It's not like this massive metamorphosis that we're going to see. Be bad. Just don't be boring and predictable, because that right now, it is like 1925 right now.
Crazy thing is, NFC East still open.
Talk about it.
They could easily still turn it around, reinvent themselves. I know they had a lot of preparation coming off a bye, but the division, they're still relevant.
This is the year to be a mediocre team in the NFC East, if there ever was one. This is the season. I just don't know if they're better than the Eagles or the Redskins.
And we'll be dishing out some love, of course, to the Titans for getting that win and sort of finding something in themselves, both on defense and offense. So more